Our government has picked up this really ambitious reform project, and what we'll be launching to you today is a plan that will see us address those major challenges in the system. We are going to make sure that we bring numbers back under control, that we build a better planned system around essential things like housing, and perhaps most importantly of all, that we build a program that delivers for the national interest. Mr. Giles and I have worked over a long period of time to build a package that has consensus. And the reason it has consensus is because we can solve the biggest problems that are challenging Australian workers, that are challenging Australian businesses at the same time. And the results of that are in the strategy. Our strategy will bring migration numbers back to normal. Some really big national challenges that we face as a country. We've got sluggish prosperity growth, which is affecting the wealth of Australian households. We've got a really fast ageing population, and we do not have the workers we need to care for them. We've got an urgent need to transition to a net zero economy, and we don't have the skills and capabilities here to do it. Migration can help us answer all of these challenges.
Hi guys, welcome back. So the hour is here. I know there's a lot of panic going on right now because of these new changes to Australia migration comes 2024. A lot of people want me to talk about it and share my opinion on what I think is this new strategies that Australian government just brought out that would start implementing in 2024. So this is the new changes happening in Australia, and I want you guys to join me as we talk about these changes and the strategies that they are putting in place. I will also give my own opinion and suggestions on what people should do if they actually want to migrate to Australia next year. So if this is the kind of content you want to watch, please watch till the end. And if you're coming across my channel for the first time, my name is Uche. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It is free of charge. Just click on that bell you're looking at, turn on the notification. Welcome back. You guys have already heard that Australian government has announced the new strategy for migration come 2024. This idea is for a better sustainable migration system. So I understand what the government is doing here. If you listen to Australian news, you will find out that there is a lot of housing crisis going on here. And they also notice there are some loopholes to low quality education providers, especially for international students. They also want to cover up all those loopholes when it comes to education system here.
International education is a really important export for our country, and all Australians should understand that. This is our fourth largest export. It is the largest export of things that we don't grow or dig out of the ground. A really important thing for our nation. It is a critical way we build friendships and partnerships with other countries around the world. What we want to make sure is that when students come here to study, they're actually here to study, and that we're not seeing what have been terribly exploitative practices, frankly, where people have run scams and got people to pay for visas and use this as an opportunity to come to Australia to work.
So these are the things that made the Australian government to decide to bring out strategies that can help sustain the economy of Australia, because all this migration thing boosts the economy, and Australian government is also cutting down the number of migration intake in 2024. As at 2022/2023, the number of migrants that came into Australia was 510,000 people came into Australia. But because of the housing crisis and trying to make a better sustainable migration system, Australian government decided that they are going to reduce the migration intake comes 2024 from that 510,000 migrants to 375,000 migrants, which is still a good thing. So I'm going to be taking you guys on the strategies that they mentioned, and I'm also going to be giving you guys my opinion on it. First, I'm going to start with the study route. There will be changes to English language requirements. So Australian government is changing their English requirements from 5 points across band of IELTS to 6.0. And if you're also doing foundation for English, or you're going to do English before you do your main course, there is also a change to that requirement, which you can also go and read up for that. Another change is that it's coming effect for student visa. The government is going to introduce the new genuine student test. This genuine student test allows you to express the reason why you're coming to Australia to study, what are the future prospects of the course that you're coming here to study. If you're also planning to stay back after your studies, GST will allow you express that interest. GST test allows you to put down all those information during your visa application. Another new changes for student route is change to temporal graduate visa. So before now, if you come to Australia to study, you have 2 years work visa, that's the graduate visa that would enable you after your studies to look for a job. In 2020/2022, the government increased it from 3 years to 4 years, depending on the course you studied and the region where you studied. I understand why they want to change it back to 2 years, because a lot of students are now permanently temporal in Australia. So what they do is they come in with the student visa, and after their studies they would not look for a job. That course where they studied, they will continue living with their temporary graduate visa. So Australian government is trying to curb that after your studies you have only 2 years to get a graduate visa that will enable you look for a job, and this would also help boost the economy. For example, let's assume that you came here to study engineering. Australia is in need of engineer, and after your studies, instead of you to look for a job as an engineer, you might be doing other kind of job. It doesn't help boost Australia economy and also the shortage in demand of that country. So they are trying to be sure that if you're coming to Australia to study as a student, you're actually going to look for a job. The proposed course that you studied.
One of the main ways that we see people end up as permanently temporary in our country at the moment is what have been very, very long stay graduate visas, the longest in the world. So there's been possibilities, for example, for students to come here to finish what might be a 4 or 5 year degree and then stay for up to 8 years on graduate visas. If students are not going to be able to transition onto the skilled program fairly quickly, they probably are not going to find a pathway to permanency in our country, and we're not doing them a favour by letting them stay here permanently temporary, and we're not doing the nation a favour. So we need to give short, sharp answers to students about whether they're going to have a pathway, and we do that viewing their ability to transfer onto the skilled list.
Australian government is saying that they are going to reduce the age for granting students the graduate visa. Before up to 50 years, you can get your graduate visa approved. But right now in 2024, they are saying that it has to be 35 years. We also don't know whether this 35 years is for people that are coming to study bachelor's degree. We want to watch what is the next step with Australian government after they finish strategies, so we would know if it's going to affect everybody or it's going to be for students that are coming in 2024. Australia wants genuine students that are coming in here to study. So if you're coming to study and you know that age is on your side, you don't need to panic because of the new changes. If you're 31, 32 coming to do your master's, because by the time you finish your master's, you will still get your graduate visa approved, then have the opportunity to look for a job. So where there will be concern is someone that is way over 35 years planning to come to Australia in 2024 to study. Another changes that is coming in effect for student visa holders is that the government wants to remove the low quality education providers. What does that mean? So a lot of education providers in Australia has been selling false narrative to students. You will see a student that come in with master's degree, then when they arrive, an agent will tell them, you know what, because you're already in Australia, you can actually go and study advanced diploma or diploma.
What I want to make sure is that when students come here to study, they're actually here to study, and that we're not seeing what have been terribly exploitative practices, frankly, where people have run scams and got people to pay for visas and use this as an opportunity to come to Australia to work. We know that when students are in that position, they are highly vulnerable to exploitation. So there's some big changes that need to occur here.
So the idea is just for Australia to get the genuine students that are here. The one that they mentioned is trying to stop the graduate visa holders going back to student route. So what does that mean? Some people come in here, let's say they studied masters in food tech, they also use their temporal graduate visa. Then they will now realize that, oh, food tech, I am just giving an example, I'm not saying that food tech is not in the occupation in demand. They will now realize that food tech might not give them permanent residence. They would decide to go back to study route and maybe study bachelor's in nursing or bachelor's in social work. If you want to do such a thing, you have to leave Australia, go back to your country and reapply again to now give them the reason why you're changing from food tech. Instead of coming to do like advanced in the particular masters you've done, you're going low. That is where the GST comes in as well. Give a reason why you're changing your course of study. So they are trying to curb that, so they won't give a lot of students opportunity to stay back thinking that, okay, when I finish I can do another course and stay back in Australia. Instead of trying to transit to permanent resident, you will stay back under temporal visa holder and continue studying. So they're trying to curb that. They're trying to make students transit easily to permanent residence, which is a good thing. If I may say, it is a good thing because it gives you opportunity to know that when you're done studying, getting a job on the course you study, which will also help you transit from a student visa to a permanent residence. The Australian government also talked about the general skilled migration pathway, although they didn't say much about it. The only thing they proposed is that they are going to change the point test, but they have not mentioned when it's going to happen. For now, the general skilled migration pathway is still the way it is. The only changes that they mentioned is that they are going to do some occupation from the skilled occupation list, which is not a problem because every financial year they actually do that. So people that have work experience and professional qualification, this is the right time for you to come to Australia. And if you already started your Australian journey under this general skilled migration pathway, this is the right time to take your migration seriously because you don't know what would happen in 2024. So I tell people, because a lot of people don't even know that they qualify for 189, 190 or 491. You can go right now and check the skilled occupation list Australia, see if your occupation is there, and if you have experience on that occupation, find your assessing authority and start getting your documents ready. So the next thing that Australian government proposed is, this is the strategy at a glance. I'm going to put the link so you guys can go and read up. And the vision for this is to get migration working for the nation, helping deliver a prosperous and secure Australia. And this is the vision why they want to bring out this migration strategy. And they have objectives here as well. You can read up if you want to. And their 5 objectives for this vision is raising living standards for Australians, ensuring a fair go in the workplace, building a stronger Australian community, strengthening international relationship, and making the system work. You guys can go ahead and read all this if you want to. And also they mentioned the key actions like the student visa, the GSM and others, but we are going to look out for the key actions why they are bringing out these migration strategies. Number 1 is targeting temporarily skilled migration to address skill needs and promote workers' mobility. So what they are trying to say here is that they are going to bring out a new temporal visa that people can come in with. Once they start this one, there wouldn't be any 482 visa anymore. So they are also saying that a new skill in demand visa with 3 targeted pathway and visa setting that encourage migrant workers mobility in the labor market. And these 3 new pathway that they are talking about is the specialist skilled pathway, a core skill pathway, and essential skill pathway. So for this specialist skill pathway, it's easier for Australians to attract highly skilled workers, for example, in the technology or a green energy industry. So for you to apply for this specialist skilled pathway, you have to meet the eligibility for this particular visa for you to be able to go for it. Then they also mentioned about the core skill pathway. So they said to meet targeted workforce need with a simpler, regular updated occupation list for the skills Australia needs. So this is like the general skilled migration pathway, and it will also allow a temporal skilled migrant to come in with this particular core skills pathway. However, your occupation has to be under this new core skills occupation list for you to actually apply for it. So you see the changes coming. And the final one is the essential skill visa. It is a regulated visa for lower paid workers with essential skills. You have experience as a care worker or any low paid workers, but you have essential skills, then you can come in with this third essential skill visa. So they are saying that this new visa setting that give migrant workers more mobility in the labor market to help target workers and drive productivity. So this is all about the 3 visas that they are talking about here. 2 for the actions that they are planning to do is reshaping skilled migration to drive long-term prosperity. We've talked about it. They are trying to change the temporal visa holders so they will have more opportunity to apply for permanent residency faster. Number 3 is strengthening the integrity and quality of international education. I've also mentioned about the increase in English language requirements for international students, restriction on onshore visa hopping that undermines system integrity and drive permanent temporary. That's the one I talked about, that a lot of students are in Australia temporary without going further to get a permanent resident. Strengthen and simplified temporal graduate visa. That is the reduction of from the 3 to 4 years that they are given before to back to 2 years. Number 4 is tackling workers' exploitation and the misuse of the visa system. So you guys, you can read up on that if you want to. Number 6 is tailoring regional visa and the working holiday maker program to support regional Australia and its workers. So here they are trying to propose that moving to regional area, they want to prioritize visas for people that are going to focus more on regional area than the metropolitan. They have mentioned that new direction to ensure regional visas receive the highest priority visa processing. This is all their plans and strategies for better migration system. So I hope you guys would go through this. Like I mentioned, I'm going to put it in my description box so you guys can go and read it and know what is to come. We have gone through the strategies and you have seen all the proposed ideas that the government is putting in place come 2024. This is an opportunity for you to start making your plans if you want to come to Australia. If you enjoyed today's video, kindly give this video a thumbs up, share to your friends and family so they will have an idea what is coming up in 2024. Thank you for watching my video and I will see you guys in my next video.